The church was always full before the sun even rose. Every Sunday, the parking lot overflowed. People came early just to catch a glimpse of Pastor Daniel Whitaker, the man they called God's voice in a broken world. He had that kind of presence. Warm smile, calm voice, eyes that made you feel seen, understood, forgiven. He preached about honesty, about sacrifice, about living clean in a corrupt world. And the people believed him. They trusted him with their secrets, their marriages, their addictions, their money, especially their money. Give, he would say softly, standing under the glow of stage lights, and God will return it tenfold. And they gave. Single mothers skipped meals to tithe. Old men handed over retirement savings. Young couples emptied their accounts, believing blessings were just one offering away. And every time someone questioned it, someone always defended him. Don't doubt God's servant. Pastor Daniel would never do anything wrong. Look at all the good he's done. Because he had done good. He built schools, funded scholarships, paid hospital bills. At least that's what everyone believed. Until the morning, everything cracked. It wasn't dramatic at first. No sirens, no shouting, just two black SUVs pulling quietly into the church parking lot on a Tuesday afternoon. Inside, Pastor Daniel was rehearsing his next sermon. Integrity, he murmured, pacing slowly across the empty stage. Living right when no one is watching. The doors creaked open behind him. Footsteps echoed. Slow, deliberate, he turned. Two men in dark suits stood at the entrance. Calm, expressionless. Pastor Daniel Whitaker? One of them asked. Something shifted in the room. A tension so subtle, but so sharp it could cut through bone. Yes, he replied, forcing a smile. The man reached into his jacket and pulled out a badge. We're with the Internal Revenue Service. Silence. The kind that doesn't just fill a room. It suffocates it. Pastor Daniel's smile didn't drop immediately, but his eyes did, just for a second. A flicker. Fear. We'd like to ask you a few questions, the agent continued. And in that moment, the man who had preached about truth every Sunday lied. I have nothing to hide. But the IRS didn't come because they thought something was wrong. They came because they already knew. The investigation had started quietly months before. A single flag transaction, then another, then dozens. Money moving through shell accounts, donations rerouted, charity funds disappearing. At first, it didn't make sense. Why would a pastor, one of the most trusted men in the state, be moving money like a criminal? But the deeper they dug, the darker it became. Luxury properties under hidden names, foreign accounts, private investments that had nothing to do with ministry, millions of dollars, all traced back to one place, the church, and one man, Pastor Daniel Whitaker. News didn't break immediately. For weeks, the investigation stayed buried, behind closed doors, behind carefully rehearsed sermons, because Pastor Daniel didn't stop preaching. If anything, he became better, more passionate, more emotional. God tests those he loves, he told his congregation one Sunday, his voice trembling. Even when the world turns against you, you must stand firm in faith. The crowd applauded. Some cried. No one knew. He wasn't preaching to them. He was preaching to himself. Then came the audit. The official notice arrived on a Thursday morning. Stamped, signed, unavoidable, and for the first time, he couldn't pray it away. Behind closed doors, the calm pastor unraveled. His hands shook. His voice cracked. Because he knew something the congregation didn't. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a mistake. This was exposure. Years of carefully built lies. Collapsing. The following Sunday, the church was more packed than ever. Word had started to spread. Rumors. Whispers. Questions no one wanted to ask out loud. But they showed up anyway. Because they needed to hear him deny it. To stand on that stage and say it wasn't true. Pastor Daniel stepped up to the pulpit. But this time, something was different. The smile? Gone. The confidence? Shaken. He looked out at the crowd. Thousands of faces staring back at him. People who had trusted him with everything. And for a moment, just a moment, It looked like he might tell the truth, but instead, he leaned into the microphone and said, "The enemy is attacking this ministry." A murmur rippled through the room. "They want to destroy what God has built here," he continued. "But I stand innocent before you." Some people clapped. Others didn't, because doubt had already entered the room, and doubt doesn't leave quietly. The arrest happened 3 days later. This time, there were sirens, flashing lights, cameras, the same parking lot that once overflowed with believers, now filled with reporters. Neighbors watched as Pastor Daniel was let out in handcuffs. The man who once lifted his hands in prayer now had them bound behind his back, and still he said nothing. The trial was brutal. Every secret laid bare, every transaction exposed. Witnesses testified, former staff, accountants, even members of the church. Stories emerged that shattered everything people thought they knew. The scholarships, partially funded, but heavily exaggerated. The charity programs, a fraction of what was claimed. The rest of the money, redirected, hidden, spent. And the worst part, he knew exactly what he was doing. Every step, every lie, every dollar. Calculated, intentional. When the verdict came, the courtroom held its breath. Guilty. One word, but it carried the weight of thousands of broken trusts. Tears filled the room, not for him, but for the people he had deceived. Sentencing day was quieter. No crowd, no applause, no stage lights. Just a judge and a man who once had everything. "You didn't just steal money," the judge said firmly. "You stole faith." And with that, the sentence was handed down. Years behind bars. No congregation. No pulpit. No more sermons. Just a silence. But here's where the story takes a turn. Because months later, a letter surfaced. No return address. No explanation. Just a single handwritten note from Pastor Daniel himself. It read, "I wasn't the only one." That was it. No names. No details. Just those 5 words. And suddenly, everything people thought was over didn't feel finished anymore. Because if he wasn't alone, then who else knew? Who else was involved? And how deep did it really go? Now here's the question. Do you think Pastor Daniel was truly the mastermind behind everything? Or just one piece of a much bigger, darker system? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this story might not be over yet.